Hi guys, I wanted to walk you through Unit 3, Lesson 7, doing the virtual worksheet on Delta Math. All right, so test corrections are at the top, but we've got all the worksheets down at the bottom here. So let's find it. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, so you can see how I need to do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 questions. So it looks like a lot, but this is just a 10 question worksheet. No big deal. So what's great about this is you're going to be able to correct it. So you know when you have 100, unlike submitting a worksheet where you don't know if you did it right or wrong. Immediate feedback. So what is the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points? Let me show you an example because the writing is pretty for the slope formula. Take a look at your slope formula here while I pull up my writing tools. We are going to do this formula right here, the change in y's over the change in x's. So notice in Delta Math how they used green here and here to represent the x values, and then they used blue to highlight the y values so they can make sure and subtract the right things. We're going to subtract the blue first because those are the y's. So this is what it looks like. 17 minus whatever's there, and what's there is a -8. Then we have the green values, which are the x's on bottom, -3. We're going to subtract whatever's there, and it's 2. So from here, I want you to use your TI-84 calculator. So you can simplify the top and just double check your integer rules. Okay, for those of you that are great with mental math, 2 negatives make a positive. So 17 plus 8 goes on top, and -3 minus 2 is a -5 on bottom. 25 divided by 5 is 5, and there's one negative sign, so the answer is negative. Remember, if there's 2 negatives, you will have a positive answer. Okay, one negative is a negative. You can always check this in your calculator, though, so you don't have to be perfect at your integer rules to get these right. So let me do this one with you. I'm going to highlight the y's in yellow. All right, so we are going to take -6 and we're going to subtract a -6. There are 2 negatives stuck together. So, and I wrote it kind of ugly, so let me fix that. Minus a negative. There we go. Okay, those were the x values. Now be careful. If you take the second and subtract the first, which is what I did, then you need to take the 6 and subtract 7, not 7 minus 6. Go in the same direction, be consistent. So I'm going to take the 6 and I'll subtract 7. Okay. I'm pulling up my calculator. Signed me out, so hang tight. Okay, I'm going to do the numerator. -6 minus a -6. Oh, 0. Interesting. We'll talk about it. The denominator is 6 minus 7, a -1. So now I just take my numerator 0 and I'm going to divide it by the denominator -1. Ooh, 0 divided by anything is always 0. This is a 0 slope, which means it's flat. Right? So if this were my graph, there we go. If this were my graph, a 0 slope would be something like this. Right? It's flat. It has an elevation of 0. There's no slope, no elevation. Sorry, no elevation. So we don't have anything that is steep. It's just flat ground. So we have a 0 slope here. Okay, if you want more examples, you can always click watch video or show examples and look for ones. I'll do one more here just because we've got some negatives. So, on your paper, you just jot this down. I am drawing what you would have on your paper. Okay, because you don't have these little highlighter tools. So on your paper, we are going to do the change in y's, which means we're subtracting whatever's there. So I'm going to take negative 12 and I'm going to subtract the negative 8. So be really careful. The subtraction sign is in the formula. When we say change in y's, it means the difference in the y's. So we have to subtract whatever's there, subtract a negative. Two negatives make a positive. So you could make this negative 12 plus 8. I'm going to leave it as is, though, so you can check it in your calculator and just make sure. Okay, whoa, that's a weird little arrow, but there's my arrow. We're going to start with the 5 because we need to go in the same direction when we're subtracting. I can't handle that. That's an ugly arrow. Okay, try again. So I'm going to start with the 5 and subtract 8. You need to go in the same direction. Be consistent. Once you have it written down, your mind is freed up to actually perform all this. So make sure that you write this down. Okay, we're going to do negative 12 minus a negative 8. Negative 12 plus 8 is a negative 4. And then we're going to do 5 minus 8 on the bottom. Okay, and then we're going to take our numerator and divide it by our denominator. And, ooh, an ugly decimal. Well, we don't like that. 1.33 repeating. No, thank you. We like writing the slope as a simplified fraction. So you can change it. There's many ways to do this, y'all. This is one way. Math, enter, enter. It will convert any decimal to a fraction. Do you see how negative 4 divided by negative 3 is just positive 4 over positive 3? The two negatives, right? When you divide two negatives, it becomes a positive. So 4/3 is simplified as far as we can go. But it would count it wrong if you put negative 4 over negative 3 because we can simplify that to a positive slope. Okay, these just take practice. Don't expect to get every single one correct. Now, this is just 2 questions. So, there's definitely different scenarios that you'll come across. So you may have to do more than 2. Let's go to the next section. Finding the slope graphically. Okay, so it says draw a line representing the rise and a line representing the run. And in order to draw a line, we need to click twice. So we need to find 2 points on this line here. If you try to click there on the blue line, it won't click. It's helping you out. It's saying, no, that won't help you. You have to have one that's in an intersection. See this? Right at the center of the plus sign or the cross is the intersection point. We need the blue line to intersect something on a grid line. How about that? That's nice. So that we can, there we go. There's another one. So that we can do a rise and run. So this is my plan. Now you're not going to click this. I'm just showing you. This is your plan. You're hovering until you find 2 points. And ideally, it's the 2 points closest together. All right, so I'm going to start somewhere right here on a grid line. And I'm going to represent the rise by clicking twice to draw the segment. And then the run, I'm going to click, and that will draw a segment representing the run. From here, we just need to count. So I'm going to show you what's in my brain here. We are going to count from 1, 2, 3. The rise is up 3. When we're going up, it's positive. When we're going down, it's negative. Now let's see if the run is positive or negative. We're going to go left 1. When we go to the left, it's negative. See how the negatives are to the left? When we go to the right, it's positive. See how the positives are to the right? So that x-axis can help you remember. But when you're going left, it's negative. So 3 divided by a negative 1, it simplifies to negative 3. That is our slope. And if you want to check it, you draw your skier. This is just in your mind. Okay, so you draw your skier guy. Oops, get rid of all that. And You draw the skier on the left side of the graph. Is the skier going up or down the mountain? He's going down. So we should have a negative slope. Okay, let's look at equations. These are all equations that are going to go through the point 0, 0. Equations that go through 0, 0 are called proportional lines or proportional relationships. You can set up proportions with these, but for now, we really just want a y equals equation. So let's review. Y equals the slope times x. We use a lowercase m to represent slope. I don't really know why. Who came up with that? Shouldn't it be an S? Probably. But we're going to just have to go with it because everyone knows in math, M stands for the slope. So y equals the slope times x. That means if I take any of these x values, how about like 1, and I multiply it by the slope of that line, it will give me where it equals y. All right, so let's see. It says find the equation that represents the proportional. Okay, so we're going to have to find the slope. You can do rise over run if you want. Just look at this, though. They're going by not ones. They're going by 0.1s. So we kind of want to be careful here. So I'm going to pick 0, 0 because that is the easiest. So I want you to do the same. If 0, 0 is in there, definitely use 0, 0. Because when you subtract 0, nothing happens. So you're going to see a pattern here. Here's another point right on the grid line. So what is that location? Ooh, it's between 0.2 and 0.4. What comes after 0.2? Should be 0.3, right? Okay, perfect. So 0.3 is the x. And 0.2 is the y. You see, if you forget, here's the y, here's the x. So on the x, list the x first. It's always alphabetical, so list the x and then list the y. I'm going to highlight this so you can see. 0.2, 0.3. And we just chose that one because it was on the grid line. You could have chosen this one. Or not, nope, or this one. Okay, but the closest, the better, because that's less counting. All right. So we can do either the slope formula or rise over run. So I'm going to do the slope formula where since we wrote the points down, where we subtract the y's and put them over the x's. Grabbing calculator. Clear. Okay. So the slope formula is the change in y's, which I have highlighted. Let's take 0.2 and let's subtract nothing. What do you know? We get 0.2. Well, let's take 0.3 and we'll subtract nothing. Well, look, we get 0.3. So when you subtract nothing, when you have 0, 0 and you're subtracting nothing, there's really no point in doing that, right? And so if you would like a shortcut for the slope of anything that goes through 0, 0, which we call proportional lines, you can just take the y and put it over the x because the slope formula is change in y's, right? We put the y over the x. Well, when we subtract nothing, there is no change. So here is your shortcut. If you have a 0, 0, you can just take 1 point, this one right here, and you can just put the y over the x. So I am going to put the 0.2 over the 0.3. Shortcut is nice. I'm going to put the y, 0.2, over the x, 0.3. So it's the change in y over the change in x. But when you have a 0, 0 and you're subtracting nothing, there is no change. So you just get to put the y over the x. Let's see what your final answer is. 0.2 divided by 0.3. Ooh, ugly. 0.66 repeating. Let's do math, enter, enter. Oh, 2/3, much better. Okay, so if I know my slope, my equation is just y equals the slope times x. So let me go down here. Y equals 2/3 x. Y equals the slope times x. Yes, I do want to say that. I got it right. Let's do another one since this is kind of new. I'll try to be faster this time. All right, so write the equation. We know it's going to go through 0, 0. So let me just find a point. Oh, this one's nice. How about this one right here? Okay, so where should that be? It's going to be 0.1 because we start at 0 and 2 places is 0.2. So we must be going by 0.1s. So this is the point, 0.1 for the x and 0.2 on the y. Since this goes through 0, 0, I'm going to take that shortcut because I want to. Always want to do it the most efficient way. So the change in y when we subtract nothing is just the y value. And the change in x when we subtract nothing from that 0, 0 point is just 0.1. So I just put the y over the x since we go through 0, 0. 0.2 divided by 0.1 is just 2. And it's a positive 2. So that means if my slope is 2, for any lines that go through 0, 0, for any lines that go through 0, 0, it's y equals the slope times x. Ta-da! Okay, proportional representations is the last section. Let's take a look. Which does not represent proportional? Okay, proportional means that the line goes through 0, 0. So we are looking for not proportional. Look, A is proportional. It goes through 0, 0. B does not. C goes through 0, 0. It's proportional. D goes through 0, 0. It's proportional. So the non-proportional relationship is B. I hope that helps. Work through these. There are videos or examples that you can click for each little section, and that may help you get through. When you're finished, submit a screenshot or let me know you did the Delta Math, and I'll put that grade in. I'm always available for help in my office hours.